slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
All right, y'all, we're here. We're live. You're watching Buster Unmasked. And look, be sure to like this video, share this video, and go to Buster H.R. Johnson on YouTube and subscribe. Look, got a killer show for you tonight. Got a young, up-and-coming guy. Hadn't been in the business very long. He's already getting noticed, turning heads, and having some big matches that we're going to talk about. Look, they call him the Western Savage. I bring to you Ravage. Rip.
Well, yeehaw, how you doing, everybody?
What is up, my dude?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's getting a little cold over here, but I'm feeling pretty warm right now. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. Look, man, I'm glad we finally got you here, man. Like I said, here's the thing. I said you ain't been in this business long, and normally I don't start like this, especially with older guys, because they get a little touchy about their age, but with you, I'm starting right off at the bat. Man, tell us how old you are, Rip.
I am all of 24 years old, my friend, and I know I even look a little bit younger because I just shaved yesterday, too, so I'm looking real young right now.
Oh, yeah, man. I actually expected you to say 19 or 20, but, hey, 24 is a prime age. Let me ask you this. How long have you actually been wrestling, man?
Well, how long have I actually been wrestling? You know, if I want to talk about how long I've really been wrestling, I'd say probably no more than like a year. I got into the business about 2 years ago. I've really been wrestling for maybe a year. Maybe.
Okay, and here's the thing now. You got in the business. You've been wrestling for a year, but you're a product of the House of Genesis, right? Jason Genesis? His dojo?
Yes, sir. Proud member, one of his first graduates.
And there's a couple of y'all out there, like I said, you're already turning heads. People are noticing. You're having some big matches that we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. There's you. There's another guy, Chuck Norbert. He's out there. He's a student of Jason Genesis. So before we really get into you, let's talk about that for a second. Talk about how you connected with Jason Genesis and how you got to come to the dojo, man, and be trained.
I was bouncing around trainer to trainer, just trying to find somebody that could do something for me, because I was just hustling every wrestling show happening once a month, trying to find something. I bounced over to TIWF. They had a guy there that was helping me out, and he was training me a little bit. And in exchange, they were having me do ring announcing. And I did that for about a month, and I was getting a little impatient. And I was ring announcing at one show where I met a guy by the name of Brian Hitt, great up-and-coming wrestler. He's wrestling in Union City right now and over in Middleton, Tennessee. And he was actually the one that introduced me to Mr. Genesis. And he was like, he thought I was already in the business. You know, he saw me, he's like, "Are you telling me you're not already wrestling?" And I was like, "I feel like I got everything, but I just don't have it all put together quite yet." So he really fine-tuned everything and helped me get the psychology of everything down.
Yeah, man, Jason, he kind of, I want to say it's probably been a year ago, he decided that he was going to start training some guys. Uh, and dude, like I said, is it still a bounce dojo where kind of wherever he's wrestling that night, he brings you guys in early and y'all train?
That's exactly what it was. We were using TIWF for a while. They were nice enough to let us use their gym, but honestly, he hasn't had too many classes after me and Chuck and Race Richards graduated. He kind of slowed down. He had some young trainee guys that needed a lot of work, but his schedule picked back up, just going everywhere every
Right.
weekend. So he just kind of said, "Gonna chill out for a little while." But he'll still train you, like give you some pointers, show you a few things if you get to the show early enough.
Yeah, I know he's busy. I know ever since him and Trey, he was busy before, but since him and Trace kind of hooked up and became the initiative, they're hot commodity around our area. They're everywhere. Uh, Jason, though, in the short time he actually trained guys, three of you guys graduated. Now it's you, Chuck Norbert, and what'd you say, Race Richards?
That's right. And actually, well, formerly known as Chuck Norbit, he is now the super smooth brown sugar himself, Chuck Swan.
I see that, man. Here's the thing. I had him on a couple months ago. He's this real humble dude, down to earth. And we was talking about the name, and I was wondering how long it was going to stick with him, man. And obviously it didn't stick long, man. He's done made a little switch and changed up. Uh, Talk to me about Jason's training, man. Talk to me about the first time you went there, first time you hooked up with Jason. Talk to me about the way he trains, man.
First time I went there, I was very surprised by just how nice of a guy he was and how professional he was. Because the first thing he makes you do is he'll get you on camera and essentially say, "I state your name. I'm agreeing and consenting to everything that's about to happen to me right now, and I will not sue for any injuries that may occur." And then it's right off the bat, he wants to see if you can take the bumps. Because if you can't take that back bump, the flip bump, the big bumps, then there's not much he can do for you after that.
And that's
But then
true, man. If you can't take the bumps, I mean that's wrestling. That wrestling, you abuse your body. The bumps, if you cannot, if you ain't tough enough to take them bumps, it's kind of a waste of time. You kind of need to look for maybe another career in the wrestling business other than in
Mhm.
ring, because it's a hard business, man. It's tough on guys. It's tough on the body. It's tough on the mind. You got to be mentally tough and physically tough to be a pro wrestler. So look, let's get to you now. Before we even get into you wrestling and what you got going on, take me all the way back, man. Tell me where you're from. Tell me how you were raised, man. Tell me what kind of dude Rip Ravage is, man.
Well, I was born in a little town called Paris, not too far away from where I wrestle, and I just came up humble beginnings, uh, baby of the family, got old, decided to do the college thing, and it didn't work out, or it did. And I was just starting to settle into life, and I was gonna, do the whole 9 to 5 family and everything. Met my fiance, we got married, and then all of a sudden, I found out there was a local wrestling show happening in my town. And I, like everybody else, grew up watching the wrestling. And I didn't even know that it was something that happened in this area. So I was blown away. My family, they were laughing at it, making fun of it because, those independent ones, they're not exactly as nice as what you see on TV. But
Right.
I was smitten right there. And that very day, I went and talked to the promoter to see how I can get into it.
Well, let me ask you this, man, because that's a funny thing about wrestling. It can be all around you, and you're in Paris, I'm in Dresden. We're literally 40 minutes away from each other. And there is wrestling all over this area. You got TIWF, you got Pro Wrestling Mid-South in Dyersburg, you got PKAW in Brownsville, you got Tennessee Championship Wrestling. They run Selmer, they run Jackson sometimes. You've got the new company, Hub City Wrestling. They run Jackson. And I know I'm probably, you got Premier Pro Wrestling run Bradford and Dyersburg. And I know I'm probably missing a company or two, TIWF. But man, is it weird to not realize that there's all this wrestling around you until you actually start inquiring about it and you get into business and then realize, oh shit, it's everywhere.
It's the weirdest thing. It's kind of like Fight Club. In that movie Fight Club, it's like nobody talks about it, but it's everywhere around. It's kind of like the normal society just isn't aware of it. I don't know if they turn a blind eye, because I'm not going to say that the promoters aren't doing their job, but it's like if you're not aware that this is a thing going on in the world around you, it's like you wouldn't even believe it. But
Right.
then the whole world just opens up to you in a flash once you do.
I was the same way, man. Of course, back then there wasn't wrestling everywhere. And I, truthfully, back then, if it wasn't Channel 5, I didn't realize there were any other wrestling until I got in the business and then found out, well, there is a couple companies over here in Arkansas, a few more in Tennessee, some in Mississippi. Very few back then. Now it's everywhere, but it's crazy, like you said, how until you're in it, man, you can be surrounded by it and never notice it.
Mm-hmm. And that makes it all the harder whenever you're getting into the business and you're wanting to start trying to find a trainer and you don't even know where the trainers are.
Oh, it's much easier nowadays, dude. Literally, it took me and my brother 6 or 7 months. And this was it probably started looking in 1991 and didn't actually start training until 1992, probably the middle of 91. It took us probably 6, 7 months to actually even get contact info to talk to anybody about training. It's a hard business to get into until you're in it, and then it's everywhere. Well, let me ask you this: you're from Paris, so talk about your upbringing, man. Tell me, what did you do? Sports in school and stuff?
Oh yeah, I was always I'll say like naturally athletic. I was never the star player. I'm not gonna lie to you. This was Paris, it's got a 5A football team. So I was about 5'11", 180 pounds, which is a good size when you're in high school. But for every 5'11", 180 pounds, there's about 3 or 4 more 6'2", 250 pounders just waiting in line.
Right.
So that's when I realized, football, tennis, baseball, all that stuff, I was more in it for my own personal betterment. I love the competition, but I knew I probably wasn't going to be up in the top drafts. I just never really found my niche, except for tennis. I was the tennis captain my senior year, but football, I loved it. I wish I had done it in college, honestly, but I was more in it for the athletic aspect, for the working out. I liked to get up early and get in there in the gym before anybody else.
Right. Here's the thing. That's the one thing. That's the first thing I noticed about you. I noticed the name, obviously. The name made me look at you, made me check you out. Because I'm like, that's a hell of a name to live up to, man. And so I checked you out, and I mean, the one thing I noticed is you are athletic out there. You've got good size, man. You're a physical guy. I've seen that already. I like that, man. It drawed me to you. That's what we need more of. Young, athletic, physical pro wrestlers out here. And so, talk to me about, did you ever dream about pro wrestling as a kid, or what? Talk to me about what actually interested you in pro wrestling before you ever got involved in it.
Oh man, well, it was my best friend whenever I was a little kid named Chase Green. He got me into it. I didn't even know what it was about. He invited me to his birthday party, and it was a D-Generation X themed birthday party. And we're all sitting there doing the X theme for the picture, and I don't even know what's going on. I've never heard of it. But from then on there, every Monday, Friday, and Saturday night, we were watching WWE, and that carried on probably until my early teens, until I fell out of it. But I told everybody, every member of my family when I was a kid, I'm going to be in the WWE. I'm going to be a wrestler. I'm going to be a superstar. And I was like, Nana, are you going to watch me on TV when I'm a wrestler? And she said, what? But I've got to a point where I finally got on EPW and I got on one of the TV tapings and I got to the house one day and I said, Nana, turn on the TV. I got something to show you. And she couldn't even believe it.
That's cool, man. I was the same way. That's all I was. Look, all I ever wanted to be was a pro wrestler for as long as I can remember. So you make it to EPW, you get on one of the tapings, you get to come home, you get to show your grandma, hey, look at this, check this out, man. Tell me about what kind of feeling that was for you, and what was her thoughts about it, man. She had to think it was awesome.
She thought it was great. She thought it was wonderful, but it's at the same time you're sitting there watching it and you realize that there's a difference between what you see as a person in the company watching one of your matches or watching any match and somebody that's never been in the wrestling environment watching the match, because they're sitting there trying to understand where the line is between the entertainment aspect and the athleticism and the realness of it. Because she's sitting there, my first match ever, I was put against Brandon Young. Great talent. Love working with him. Love watching all his matches. But all my Nana could say was, now, I'm going to say Rip. Now, Rip, now that boy's a foot shorter than you and about 120 pounds. Now, I know you could whoop up on him. And I was like, I don't know, Nana. He's pretty wily.
And that's what you do, man. That right there. My granddad loved pro wrestling. I mean, and he was blind. So he didn't really, he could see shapes, but he couldn't really see. But he would turn on wrestling every Saturday morning, every Saturday evening, Sunday, whenever it come on, he'd get right up to the TV and listen. And he was the same way. When me and my brother got into the wrestling business, we never ever smartened him up. Never smartened him up, man. But I've heard that same thing, man. I know you can whip that boy. I know you can. That's just part of it, man. But it still had to have been super cool for you there. What was it like seeing yourself on TV for the first time?
Oh my goodness. I just couldn't believe it. It really felt like a milestone in my career. And it really made me feel like I found a place, like a niche in my life, where I finally felt like all the things I've been working towards in my life have made it to this point. You know, I grew up doing all the athletic stuff, but I was never like super great at sports. I grew up doing lots of theater, big theater guy, loved acting, wanted to be an actor growing up. But, you know, that never worked out because that's just few and far between finding opportunities for that. And then I found this where I can combine both of them and display it and actually feel like not the best, maybe not yet, but I feel like this is the best thing that I'm at. And now I'm getting to see myself do the thing that I'm best at.
Yeah, man,
And it's a great feeling.
it's kind of like the best of all worlds. You're kind of like a rock star. You're an actor and you're an athlete at the same time. When it's done like it should be done, you kind of all of those things wrapped into one, man. I feel you 100% on that. Let me ask you this then. So you were educated to wrestling by watching WWE. So what was it like the first time you actually went to one of these shows, these independent shows? Was it a culture shock for you? Was it what you expected, or was you like, hold on, this is something totally different than what I thought it was going to be?
I'm not going to lie. Whenever I was there with my family and I was there with my friends, and I knew what I had seen before. And seeing this, I wasn't quite sure what to expect. And it was funny. I got to be honest. It was a little funny to watch on such a small, more personal level, because they still go at it with all the realism that they're on TV in front of thousands of people. But then it kind of comes to me and I'm sitting there watching them in the crowd. I couldn't help but laugh at it the first time I saw it. And we're yelling and we're getting involved and we're insulting the people while they're wrestling. But that's what they want. They had us involved. They had us like invested in it. and it was a really, really family fun experience that I had.
That's the thing about pro wrestling, man. You have to have your audience invest in what you're doing. That's where the connection happens. Look, it don't always happen out there, but sometimes you get out there and magic happens and the fans fall right into place with you where you want them to be. And that's the magic of pro wrestling right there. That's really what it's all about. It's about a connection with your audience, man, drawing them into what you're doing, having them react to what's going on. Because here's the thing. Once you get it to that point, and they're kind of part of the show too. People don't like to say that, but and they know it now. Now they realize that, oh shit, I'm part of this energy that's going on. More than part of the show, it's an energy, a transfer of energy back and forth between the wrestlers and the audience. And you got to tap into that real emotion. And I will say this, a lot of it's funny as hell too. When you're used to watching WWE and everything's so polished, so pretty, so perfect, and then you come to a indie show and you might see some guys botch some spots, might be some mess ups. Some aren't as good as they act like they are. Others are better than you would ever dream you would see at an indie show. It's kind of a smorgasbord of a little bit of everything. And here's the thing about you. There is a lot of pro wrestlers that wasn't the star athlete in normal traditional collegiate sports, but got into pro wrestling and became superstars. It was their calling. That's where it all came together. I feel like, man, you might be on that path. You seem like you're aware of the fact that reality, you was able to look at your high school athletics and stuff and realize probably not going to be a star here. And the thing about pro wrestling, you always need to be realistic with yourself. Always. Do not believe your own hype. Do not let somebody gas you up. Watch your stuff and critique it. Be your own worst critic. You know, you have to be. But you're young. You got a good attitude, man. And you look, how long have you actually been in ring? You've been around the business for a year. How long have you actually been in the wrestling ring wrestling?
Let's see. 2 years ago, I started with Paris.
Okay.
I want to say I probably got in, started training for about 2 or 3 months, and they only did a show every month. So
Right.
that's about maybe 3 or 4 good sessions of wrestling. They were short on a referee. They said they needed a referee. I had a good head on my shoulders. I probably reffed for them, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 months after that. And finally they said they needed somebody to go ahead and put a mask on. And they said I was good enough that I could at least wear a mask and they could tell me what to do out there.
Right.
So that was probably a year and a half ago. I called myself El Zorro, and I wore all black and had a black mask. I'd go out there, I'd do a Spanish accent and I probably got squashed for a few months, but it was great learning experiences and getting better at like listening and stuff like that.
So I got to hear this Spanish accent, man. Go for it. I got to hear it, dude. I got to, man.
Man.
Come on, do your best. What'd you say, El Zorro?
I am El Zorro.
Hey, you know damn well there was somebody just like you sitting right out in the audience when you first went to a show laughing their ass off, man. So let me ask you this. What is it, Non-Stop Wrestling Alliance in Paris? Is that where you broke in at pretty much?
That's right.
Yeah, they still run now. I'll be honest with you. What do they run? Like once a month?
Oh yeah, just once a month.
They draw some really good crowds.
I've
never actually been to one of their shows live, but man, I see pictures and see a little footage here and there. They seem to really, they draw a good crowd in Paris, man.
What they've got going for them is consistency. They've been running that venue and that show for about 4 years now, and it's slowly started to build up from like maybe 25 or 30 in the audience to now on a bad month they'll have at least 70 in there.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that's JM Knight, right? His company.
That's right. It's owned by JM Knight, and Jamie is the promoter for that.
Okay, yeah, I think
Bad
they
boy
do.
Jamie Phillips.
I think they do a real good job, man. And like you say, consistency. That's anything in life, and it's definitely pro wrestling. Man, you have to be consistent. If you're booked somewhere, you got to be there. You can't be wishy-washy. If you are, then bookings will start drying up because nobody wants to take a chance on you. Consistency in everything in life, and especially pro wrestling. So one thing I want to get to is a company here in West Tennessee that I missed a while ago, Union City Wrestling, UCW. And here's the thing, I think a couple of years ago it was Quality Pro Wrestling. Is it the same people running it now that was running it then?
If it was in Union City, then I would probably assume that it was. I wasn't back there. I knew that they used to run that promotion a few years ago before it got shut down. So I'm going to assume that it was. I didn't really know too much about it before Jason kind of brought us all into it.
Right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Quality Pro, and I want to say COVID shut everybody down, and then I think something happened with their building. I think maybe it caught on fire and flooded something. I don't remember for sure, but it shut them down, and they stayed closed probably, I'd say a year, maybe. I could be wrong on that time frame, but I'd say they stayed closed a year, and then when they reopened up recently, kind of a new look, a new look, new talent. I hadn't been to one of the shows live. I ain't but 30 minutes from it. I've been thinking about coming, man, just to check it out. The footage I've seen looks like they're making some good progress. And hey, that's one thing I mentioned early in the show. Man, you had some big matches recently, and you got another big one this Saturday night. So I want to ask you about that, man. What was it like stepping in the ring with Damian Wayne?
Well, stepping in the ring with Damian Wayne is kind of like, I've been in the business for about a good year, but when you walk in there with him, he kind of makes you feel like it's your first day again, so to speak. Because the second you walk in, class is in session with him, and
Right.
your number one job is to listen and watch. And I realized what my job there was to listen to him, do what I was supposed to do, but more importantly, knowing what I know now is that the opportunities that he's going to give me throughout the match, I got to make the most of those.
Right.
Because anybody can just listen to somebody, but when am I going to take the initiative within that match to kind of make my shine actually shine,
Right.
Because here's the thing. This isn't actually the first time I got in the ring with Damian Wayne. A year ago, right before my very first match, or I think it was like my second match that I ever did off the mask, no mask, was against Damian Wayne. We
Oh,
had
really?
a shortage one night in Paris, and it wasn't in Paris, but it was with Nonstop. There was a shortage one night. Jamie made a call. Damian came out. There was nobody to go against him, and it was just me and some little 5'4" French dude. And they were like, well, it's not going to be any kind of match if it's just against this little guy. So they said, you think you can do it? And he just walked me through the whole thing. And even though he literally told me every single step of the match, I go back and I look at that video that was taken of it, and it's awful. Oh, I did. It's a constant reminder, going back over the tape and just being like, oh my goodness. It was bad.
And stay that way, man. Always be your own worst critic in the pro wrestling business, man. I see so many guys, man, and look, it ain't just a now thing. It's an always thing since I broke in. You see so many guys that, man, you can see them and they have we all have shit matches from time to time. It's just wrestling. That's the way it is. But I see so many guys through my time that, God, they have some of the worst matches, and then they go see it on tape, and I don't know if they're blind to the fact or I don't know what they're seeing, but they're not seeing what everybody else is seeing, And you got to be your own worst critic, man. If it looks like shit to you, it looked like shit. I mean, it's just simple as that. If it looked like shit, felt like shit to you, it more than likely looked like shit to your standards. And that's the thing about Damien. He is the top, like of the unsigned guys in the independents all over the country. I mean, this dude's been there and done that. Multiple time champion in the NWA, multiple time AIWF world champion. He's a vet. He's been there. And like you said, he's one of those guys. All you got to do is kind of shut up and listen. And here's the thing about him. He's not one of those guys that's going to take you in there and just eat you up and only worry about him looking good. If the fans don't buy into y'all's match and you both aren't looking good, then he's not going to be happy. So that's a guy you can go in there and you can trust. You can trust to just, hey, especially when you're young, just shut up and listen to him. Do what he says. Do it to the best of your abilities, man. I didn't realize y'all had wrestled. So this Saturday night, would it be y'all's third matchup?
Technically speaking, this will be our third. Well, it'll be our second. It's going to be his second time wrestling Rip Ravage. His first time, he was wrestling a young kid named Damon Rebel.
How the hell did you come up with these names, man? I was going to ask you, how did we land on Rip Ravage, man? The Western Savage, Rip Ravage. How did we hit that, dude?
Oh, you know what it's like. When you're a young guy, the one thing you're trying to think of is the name. And every time you get a name in your head, it's just, oh, that's no good. Well, next time I go to that show, I'm going to change my name. I'm going to do this. And then you go to another show and they say, well, we don't like this name. Let me think. I started out as it was Jackson Rival. Didn't last too long. Then it was Damon Rival. That was okay. Then I thought, I'm going to call myself Damon Revel. I'm going to say I'm the handsome devil, Damon Revel. And I liked the sound of that. It was real good. But then, funny enough, whenever I started training with Jason, I said, I want my name to be Damon Revel. And he said, sorry, buddy. Can't let you do that. And I said, why not? He said, because Revel's my thing. Every time I go out to the ring and I say, Revel.
Right.
And now he doesn't even do it anymore, but
oh, he will again one day.
I'll change it. I went from that. I said, okay, I'll be Damon Rebel. How about that? And they're like, doesn't sound great. That's about the time I started doing the cowboy thing. I just got a hat one day and said I'm going to be a cowboy. So I started getting all the names down, and I found I just finished watching Yellowstone, and I said, all right, we're going to do Rip Rebel. Jason said he liked it. Everybody else said it was good. Go to the first show at EPW. They said, we don't like Rebel. We don't like it. It's got, you're doing the cowboy hat. You got what looks like Confederate flag on your shorts. Can't call yourself a rebel. It doesn't sell.
Right.
You want to be on TV. So, big Macho Man fan, but I know there's 1,000 savages out there. So I said, what about Ravage? You know, Ravage just kind of means like to consume, to kind of take, to kind of tear apart. So I thought Rip Ravage. I love the alliteration. So Rip Ravage, and we kind of, Jason says, you got to do the ring announcer test. We were in the car on the way to EPW, and he said, now coming to the stage, the Western Savage, Rip Ravage. And he said he likes it, so history was made that day.
Dude, I love it too, but I'll be honest with you. What I see, man, the first thing comes to my mind is a honky-tonk strip club somewhere. Male strip club. When you say, I was going to do the exact same thing you did, man. Coming to the stage, the Western Savage, Rip Ravage. And I can see you come out, nothing but drawers on with a boa and a cowboy hat, dude. So Rip Ravage stuck, though, man.
It's sticking, you know. Every single time I go to a show, the announcer has my name written as Ricky Savage or something like that, and I got to correct him. But besides that, I'm really enjoying it. And I completely agree with you. It's got that kind of feel to it. In fact, I've been told that I should get some tearaway chaps whenever I go into the ring. So I'm
My,
working on that. It's still a little expensive, but maybe someday.
well, let me ask you this: you're basically a good guy right now, right?
In most of the places, yeah.
So I think we save them tearaway chaps till we turn you heel, man. I think that's the maybe you get a new career. So let me ask you this before we kind of move on, because I want to talk to you about other places you've worked. You got you a cowboy hat and decided I'm going to be a cowboy. How is that working, man? Talk to me about the first night you went out with the cowboy hat as the cowboy, man.
The first night I went out as a cowboy, I had a cowboy hat, and that was it. Well, not that was it. I was wearing other stuff too. Don't get me wrong. Uh,
There you go. You building up this stripper career pretty good there, man.
I had a pair of sparkly red tights, and I didn't even have boots yet because they were on back order from High Spots because I got the custom ones. So it was like the tiny wrestling shoes. So I got a cowboy hat and red tights and wrestling shoes. Literally nothing about me says cowboy except for the fact that I have a hat on. And it was probably like a good 7 or 8 matches in doing the cowboy thing before I even got the idea to say yeehaw when I got there. So I was purely just a cowboy by the hat itself. It really took me a while to build up the persona.
So when did we add the rope, man? Because I got some pictures up here. You got a rope in your hand. When did we add the lasso or the rope, man?
That would probably be after my first time with EPW. I was doing it at a gym event, and it was Gary or Neil, one of them, said we like the cowboy gimmick. We think it'll go over great, but we need more. We need some boots. We need some props. You need something that you're doing. Do you have a cowbell that we can do with the rope? And I was like, oh, like Stan Hansen. So I kind of procrastinated a bit, and it got to the day of my next time doing EPW, and I just rushed to the nearest Lowe's that I could find. I found the rope, couldn't find the cowbell, so I said, heck, I'll just do this. And I was like trying to Google videos of like how to swing a lasso around, and I like tied a lasso knot. And I like the lasso. I think, we got Bullwhip Ballard. He does the whip.
Right.
There's a few other guys that do the rope and the cowbell. And I haven't actually gotten a chance to lasso anybody yet. There's a guy in East Tennessee, Johnny Poke. He does a cowboy thing, and he's got like a real lasso that he does. So I think I've just kind of got this rugged rope, and it swings really good. The kids love to hold it. Sometimes during the intermissions, I'll go and I'll tie the kids up by their hands, and I'll lead them around the ring. They love it. It's a great time. But I like the rope. It's very simple. It's easy to travel with.
I like the rope too. I don't think I would add the cowbell just because everybody's done it, man. And usually the guys who do it are huge. They're usually, like you
Exactly.
said, Stan Hansen. There's a guy in Missouri named Tyler Bodine who's a big giant dude who does the cowboy gimmick, rebel cowboy type gimmick, and he's got the cowbell. I like the rope, man. I like the rope. Learn how to lasso. That's the trick.
Yeah.
Bullwhip can pop that whip. Dutch Mantel could pop that whip. Learn to lasso, man. You start you lasso an opponent, I'm gonna tell you they're gonna love it, dude. The people are gonna love it, man.
I was thinking maybe I could hog tie him, like after it's over, and just leave him up there in the ring.
Dude, there it is, man. Do you know how to do that?
Well, it's a lot of it's about the kind of rope that I got. So the kind of rope I got right now is actually super rugged, and if I tried to lasso anybody with it,
Eat
they
you
would
up.
be upset. It'd eat them all up. So I gotta
Right.
get a better rope before I start lassoing people with it for sure.
So talk to me about the family. Talk to me about grandma. When you decided to go full cowboy, man, how did what did they think about you going? What did they think about the Western Savage Rip Ravage, man?
Oh my, honestly, mixed reaction. A lot of mixed reactions. My mom, she's the creative one. She's the supportive one. She's all for it. And like the second I told her I was getting into wrestling, she immediately joined all the wrestling pages all throughout Tennessee. And she's like sending me like these biopics and history things about old wrestlers in Tennessee. And she's like, you can really do this. You can really get in here. And if you just make these connections, I'm like, all right, do you want to be my manager or something? She gets right in there. Now, my dad, he's like, that's great. whatever you want, you do you. But the biggest kind of voice of opposition that I get is from my older sister. She's always been the more realistic one. She, in fact, told me yesterday, we were all having lunch. She was like, Reese, I was looking on Reddit or whatever, and she was like, do you know you have a better chance of getting in the NFL or the NHL, the NBA than making it in pro wrestling? And I'm like, well, I know I'm not getting into any of the other ones, but I think there might be a chance I can at least make a living out of doing this or get as far as I can. But she
So,
was always just like, why would you want to get out there in your underwear and strut around and just make a fool out of yourself? And I'm just,
hey,
I
tell
don't
her,
know. I was just born that way, I guess.
say, sis, go out there one time and give it a try, and I promise you'll fall in love with it, man.
I've told her this. So believe it or not, I come from a really athletic family. My sister, she looks like she's like a she looks like she could be an Olympian. I swear. But she just doesn't have the mindset for it. My dad, oh my goodness, he does CrossFit every morning at
Really?
4:30. He's truly ripped, like six-pack abs, super vascular. He's only like 190 pounds, 6 foot tall. If I can look like him one day, I will be a star. Believe you me. He's
Hey,
kind of
that
like my biggest role model in terms of like what I'm trying to pursue and where I get my athletic background from. He always instilled that in us.
hey, that's where the Ravage come from, man. Dad's all ripped and cut. And you tell your sister, quit. She's a dream squasher, ain't she? She
She
just
is. Oh my
look,
goodness, she
look.
is.
She telling you all the things you know you can't be, and that you got a better chance of making it in than what you actually want to do. Like, sis, come on now. You're just killing all. You're just bringing me down, man. You got to
Yeah.
stop that, man.
She said, now be honest with me. How long are you gonna do this little hobby of yours? And I'm just like, come on, give me a break here. As long as I can, I guess.
Well, let me ask you this. You mentioned you were the baby of the family. I am too, and my brother and sister were 16 and 18 years older than me. So I feel like your sister's a decent little bit older than you. How much older is your sister than you?
Well, my sister is 3 years older than me. Not crazy, but she's already gotten married and she's had the kids and she's got her career. She's settled down. But I actually kind of lied to you a little bit. I was the baby of the family. I was the baby of the family for 12 years before my parents decided, you know what? The birds are about to leave the nest. We're starting over. So, one of the biggest things that's kind of also been an inspiration to me is the fact that I've got a 12-year-old little brother and a 10-year-old little brother, and I'm
Wow.
their hero. To be honest, not trying to brag, but Big Brother's a superstar wrestler wrestling on TV. That's all I need. They come to my shows all the time, clapping, cheering my name. It's the best.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. Here's the thing: wrestling's a whole lot easier when you got that family support behind you, especially when you're young. Because man, wrestling's a lonely business. You're out there, you're on your own. I mean, it's everybody's out for themselves. It's like being thrown to the sharks or the lions, and to have your family kind of come with you and support you like that, it's a big deal, man. It helps keep your confidence of it up, because one thing wrestling can do, it can beat the shit out of your confidence at times. I mean, it just is, man. Everything can be way up here 1 second, and 1 second later, man, something happened and everything goes from the penthouse to the outhouse. So let's talk about EPW a minute. Talk to me about how you like working at EPW, man.
I love working at EPW mainly because uh, you're never just wrestling the same guy there. They've always got new talent coming in. They're always doing different kinds of matches. They're always trying to work new and different kinds of angles. And honestly, I just hate that I'm so far away, which, I say that I'm still pretty new. I know some guys that travel 8 hours for shows on a bi-monthly basis, but EPW is only like 2.5 hours from me. when I'm not carpooling. But it's been good. I've enjoyed it. I wish I could actually get out there a little bit more often because that's the thing that I'm starting to run into is I love EPW for their the fact that they're on TV. The quality of their production's amazing quality,
Right.
amazing arena, amazing venue. But they're not always doing it there. Sometimes they're doing it. They do a lot of house shows at a lot of high schools and fairs and stuff like that. So my schedule has conflicted a lot with the times that they've asked me to come out there. And, if you can't be there every time they want you there, then that's going to hurt your chances of getting invited back a lot. Because they're one of those people that if they're going to put you on TV, they want you there consistently.
Well, here's the thing. The one thing I love about EPW, like you said, awesome production. I like the fact that they use young talent in good, creative ways. They don't just throw young guys out there to look like shit. They make sure you guys have something going on, something that's interesting, even if it's a one-off match. All the guys, I love the fact that they take the younger guys and build them into something. Don't just throw them out there and just let them. If they make it, they make it. If they don't, then we'll throw them away and go on to the next. No, like you said, Neil and Gary both told you, man, we like it, but we need some props. We need something added to it. That they always are upping the game with the young talent and running house shows. That is a must for a pro wrestling company and a pro wrestler. Man, here's the thing. That's what's wrong with our whole territory right now is there's not one company out here that is working guys 4 or 5 nights a week, We need that. EPW is steady building that house show. The amount of house shows up more and more from what I can see, man. I'm hoping they get to where they're working you guys 4 or 5 nights a week where you can actually make, hell, even if you could make $100 a night, 5 nights a week, more than likely you could probably then do this full time. You might have to really watch your money and be frugal on the road, spending money, but you could do this for a living, man. And the more you get to do it, each week, the faster you're going to get. It's going to become second nature to you guys.
Absolutely. And that is the dream to be able to do that. Right now I'm trying to figure out like in the real world how I can kind of make money on a scale where I can work my own hours, kind of be my own boss and still be able to support my wife. If she wants to stay home or if she wants to come with me on my trips to go to the wrestling events, anything like that, because I feel like I'm a good while away before signing any kind of contract or making any kind of money at those house shows to pay for the gas really is the biggest goal right now. Is just being able to pay for the gas to get to the show and to get back and maybe have a snack in between along the way.
And that's the quandary with pro wrestling, man. Look at Stone Cold, taters and tuna, for a long time until finally he got that break. That's what they call. That's part of paying your dues, and it's rough. If you were a single guy, didn't have a family, didn't have a wife, where you could just go here and stay and go wherever. Sometimes it's a lot easier on a single guy than it is a married guy because pro wrestling is tough on the spouse too.
Hey, you're gonna have to quiet down. My wife's in the other room. She's gonna hear you, man. She's gonna shut the whole thing down.
Hey, after we get off here tomorrow morning, we'll see no more Rip Ravage. Rip Ravage has retired, man. He's on the couch now. But it's the honest truth, man. But that's life. That's you got to take care of your responsibilities first, and then hopefully you can figure it out to where you can do this at the level you want to hopefully get signed, because you got to get that experience in. If you ever have a chance to get signed, you got to get that experience in. So when they look at you, it's one thing to look at a guy like you and think of all the different things you could do with them, but you also got to watch them in the ring and see if they're ready yet, man. And it takes I mean, the rule of thumb is 10 years to really start figuring this business out. You know,
Absolutely.
in ring, the business itself, that's kind of the rule of thumb. I mean, some people figure it out a little quicker. Some people it takes longer. Some people never figure it out. It's a tough business, man, but don't lose that dream, dude. Don't lose that dream to make it, because if you ever lose that dream, you're not going to make it. You might as well hang it up, dude. Don't ever quit dreaming about making it to the WWE.
Oh, I still haven't. I promise I still haven't. And I think that's kind of what you were saying about getting that practice in and getting that experience in. It's like I'm ready to start hitting that road. I'm ready to start going to different places and trying to get my name out there. I've already, like, on spare weekends that I have, I like try to go to the NWA shows, try to go to the Memphis shows. Met with Dustin Starr, shook his hand, been like, whenever you need me, I'm there. I want to do this. Talk to what was the guy that runs the NWA promotion in East Tennessee?
Joe Kazana.
That's right. Talk to Joe Kazana, talk to his son. Amazing people. And I got to get out there more so they don't forget about me, because they'll forget real quick. They meet 100 people a day. But
Out of
right now,
sight, out of mind.
I've realized, like, I'm doing UCW every 2 weeks. I'm doing Middleton, Tennessee as much as I can. They're running every Friday. And if there's something I can do on a Sunday, I'll try and do it. I'm just now, like, this is the longest I've gone without wrestling, is like in 2 weeks, because I just kind of took a little break because I had some family stuff going on. But I'm trying to get my reps in right now, and I'm trying to establish myself in Union City right now as best I can to kind of have that under my belt. Trying to build a reputation, honestly, there, because they're my favorite place to be right now. They're pushing me really well. They're putting me with different people all the time. They're putting me against a high dollar top tier name like Damien, and learning stuff from doing stuff with him. Maybe there might be a championship in the future. Who knows? And I feel like all that's going to do is just start making me look better and better whenever I do eventually reach out to the other places. So at least I can say what my experience is to kind of give a reason why they should give me a chance.
And wrestling's all about that networking too. Like you said, you got to be in their face, out of sight, out of mind, man. There's 100 other guys just like you or better that want that same spot you want, that are hitting these guys up. You got to stay in their face. And the thing about getting to work guys like Damian Wayne, it helps your experience, but working guys like that also help your confidence. And that's a big thing in pro wrestling. You get this call tomorrow from the WWE and they want to give you a tryout. Well, if you're unsure, you're always going to be nervous. You're always going to get those butterflies, or you should. But if you're really unsure in your confidence, in your ability, it's going to hamper that tryout. You're not going to perform to the level you really want to. But working guys like Damien, man, at this stage, with all the experience he's got, man, absorb that. Soak up everything you can from guys like that, because, I mean, that's kind of the fast track to get you where you want to be. You can spend a year working guys at your level and maybe not learn nothing. Y'all might go out there and have beautiful polished matches, but that don't really mean you're learning anything new. You're advancing in your career and in your ability in the ring as a wrestler, as a performer, as a character. It's all about that experience, dude. And you mentioned Middleton. MIW. Let's talk about MIW for a few seconds before we wrap it up, man. MIW seems to be drawing good crowds, really good crowds right now. They always do. And that's every Friday night show, right? How
Right.
often do you wrestle for MIW?
Now, MIW, that's also about 2 hours away. I have trouble getting the carpool there because my work, because it's on a Friday. So I'm usually making that drive myself. Um, when I can, I want to get out there every Friday, but honestly, it's just not realistic most of the time. I've been making some money because I've been selling some merch now. I've finally getting my own merch. Shirts, kind of getting the ball rolling with the shirts. My biggest sell, I've actually started, got a brother-in-law who's been making train whistles for me with my name on them. Huge sell. Huge sell. Because I do like this pain station thing in the corner. It's a really funny gimmick. All the kids love to blow their train whistles. It's great, but I told the booker, I said, when do you really need me for? Because I want to be there for if you need me, but right now I'm just trying to just trying to figure out that work life balance because it's hard to
Right.
be away every weekend. Whenever you got the other priorities, you got your wife, you got friends, you got family, all that stuff. So basically, I've kind of taken this October off a little bit. I worked the first week. I told them I'm going to work the last week. And I think we've got something planned for November. And so November, I'm planning on being there every week to see if we can get a little story going there. It's going to be really fun. Me and Race, we've been tagging for MIW. It's my first time really doing like a solid tag team with somebody over a long period of time. And me and Race love working together. We call ourselves the R&R Express. We've been figuring out our tag moves, figuring out the music, just having fun with it. Just having a
Right.
really good time working the other tag teams in the circuit.
How you like tag team wrestling compared to singles?
It's a double-edged sword because you get a break, which is amazing. And when you get that break, you get to work with the audience, practice, working with them, getting a draw out of them, and trying to bring attention to certain parts of the match that they might not be realizing. Because that's the thing, not all wrestling audiences really understand when they're supposed to be cheering or when they're supposed to be booing or when they're supposed to be clapping for the babyface to get up. So having a guy in your corner that does know when it's supposed to happen and he can start banging on the turnpost and stomping on the apron to get everybody up and going whenever it's time for that big hot tag, it's great.
And here's the
But
thing, experience, because it's not their job to know when to do that. It's our job to make them do it when we want them to it, when they're supposed to. And that comes with experience. And here's the thing about tag wrestling. Man, I was always a single guy until I found the right partner. And man, tag wrestling, when you get a guy you really click with, you have fun with out there, man, tag wrestling, you can be so creative in tag wrestling because there's three more guys out there than you, man. So the creativity's off the charts, man. I never wanted to be a tag guy until I found the right partner. And man, I found the magic of tag teaming, man. I love it myself too. It's fun. It can be really fun, man, when you get out there and there's magic. And here's something, look, turn the TV down, close the door, make sure your old lady don't hear this. I heard you say something about you starting to sell some gimmicks, man. And for a guy like you, young guy, any young guy in the business, that's where you supplement your money. Listen to me. Go out, get you some little short trunks on, get you a little bow, put the little hat on, maybe the cowboy boots on, take you some photos, take them to the show, and I guarantee you when you bring that money back to your wife, she's going to be ready to print out more copies for you to take to the next show because a guy like you could sell a shit ton of gimmicks, man. A shit ton of gimmicks. I'm not bullshitting you. That's a facet that's missing now from pro wrestling. Man, pro wrestling used to be 50% women. Now it's 95% dudes and 5% women. And guys do not capitalize on, they don't draw the female audience in. It takes young guys. It takes young, good-looking guys. I promise you, the fabulous ones made multi thousands of dollars selling pictures with them just in their trunks and shit, almost naked. Go do it. I promise you, you'll come home with a pocket full of money. And when you throw it on the table, your wife will be printing out new pictures for you to take. She'll be getting you new outfits and stuff too, dude. You want to supplement that income where you can take care of the family and chase this dream? I'm telling you, man. Think about the Western Savage, Ravage, the stripper, man. That's how we're gonna make some money at this, dude.
goodness gracious, who do you think I am? Marco Harris? I tell you what, I used to make fun of him about those pictures. I used to make fun of him. And then someone said, "Hey, Marco, how much did you make tonight?" He said, "Just on the pictures, about $120. I said,
There
"Hats
you go.
off to you."
And that's truthfully, I mean, that's truly a part of the business, man. For a young baby face, that's how you make most of your money. At this level, you're going to make more off of your gimmicks than you are off your PO. There's no doubt in my mind. Most crowds, you'll probably double your PO minimum on gimmicks. You get the right pictures, get enough of them, get a variety. And like you said, you got the whistles. It ain't all just pictures. Get other things like that. Find you somebody that a place where you can get them cowboy hats for a cheap, low-cut rate if you buy enough of them. Set them out there for $20-$25. I guarantee you'll sell some of them.
I've been looking into those cowboy hats, and you're right. I got to find somebody that can get me at a cheaper price, because Amazon, they want like $10 for a hat. It's crazy, even for like those little styrofoam ones. It's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah, you have to find the right vendor, but man, even autograph them out there. Put them out for sale, dude. You can sell them. That's how you make your money. Rip, dude. Man, we're going to wrap this thing up, man. I appreciate you so much. This has been I've had a blast talking to you, dude. Man, I'm anxious to see how the next 6, 8 months, a year goes for you, man. Hopefully we'll get you back on here in 6, 8 months down the road, and maybe you'll be at a new stage in your career, man.
That's the plan. Keep on going up, keep on climbing, keep on struggling. I really appreciate you having me on the show.
Dude, keep on dreaming. That's what this business is built on, is that dream. Keep on dreaming. It's about the money, but without the dream, you ain't gonna never get the money. So keep on dreaming, my friend. You and your wife, y'all have a great night, my friend.
Yeehaw.
All right, y'all, you seen it right there. The Western Savage, Rip Ravage, man. Check this young man out. Talented guy, good-looking guy. He'll be at Union City Wrestling this Saturday night. Come check him out, facing Damian Wayne. Should be a hell of a match. Look, guys, next week, man, we got a cool week coming up next week. I got some bona fide wrestling legends starting Monday. I got Action Mike Jackson. Some of you older fans will remember this dude from the Superstation, WTVS 505, 605. Georgia Championship Wrestling, World Championship Wrestling. Always, he was a mainstay on those. He's still out here to this day wrestling his ass off. He'll be on Monday night at 7 p.m. Tuesday night, man, we got another pro wrestling bona fide legend, the Golden Boy, Chick Donovan. Man, this dude has been there, done it, part of the First Family. Man, this dude has wrestled everywhere. You name it, he's done it. He'll be on Tuesday night. It's at 7. Wednesday night, we got a legend in the making. We got Deacon Pierce, the lowlife. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, guys, 7 p.m. Do not miss the show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Be sure to like this video. Be sure to share this video. And be sure to go to Buster H.R. Johnson on YouTube and subscribe.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you